December 7th, 1941. In its effort to broaden its imperial grip over the Pacific Ocean, the forces of the Japanese military struck a surprising blow to the United States at Pearl Harbor. As war was declared by Congress the following day, the initial shock of many white Americans turned to a heated desire for vengeance against the Japanese race. With fear of enemy infiltration widespread along the West Coast, over 110,000 Japanese Americans were forcibly and illegally relocated to primitive detention camps in arid deserts and remote foothills. The campaign to consolidate Japanese Americans under the constant supervision of the armed forces remains one of the greatest violations of civil liberties in the nation's history. Despite being stripped of the rights and privileges of citizenship, thousands nonetheless stepped forward to vindicate themselves as loyal Americans. Among these willing recruits were the GIs of the 442nd Regimental Combat Team, comprised primarily of Nisei, or second-generation Japanese Americans. The unit defiantly fought adversity at home and abroad. Throughout the summer of 1944, the 442nd hurled its way through Italy with distinction in the fights for Belvedere, Hill 140, and across the Arno River. Now, the infantrymen would enter the battle for France. Nearly 5 months after the Normandy invasion, Allied control of France was far from complete. By mid-October, the unit found itself in the gloomy fog of the Vosges Mountains near the German border, a final jump-off point into the heart of the Third Reich. Following fierce clashes in Bruyères and Bifontaine, the men of the 442nd were at last granted a reprieve from the fighting. Or so they thought. On October 23, 1944, only a few miles away from the Nisei soldiers, part of the 141st Regiment became surrounded by fierce German troops. The impulsive and bigoted General John E. Dahlquist, attempting to reverse his own errors, ordered the 442nd into the fight to relieve the beleaguered Texas National Guard unit. On October 27th, the troops proceeded into the ominous darkness of the mountain woods, with many holding onto the belts of the men to their front to avoid being lost. As they encountered stiff resistance and American survivors, Dahlquist's fiery insistence on advancement continued pushing the GIs toward danger. 2 days into the fight, the 442nd moved onward despite a heavy combat toll. Men were being cut down left and right. Incensed by the loss of their brothers, the Nisei soldiers took matters into their own hands. Veteran Robert Kashawagi recalled, "We just decided we were going to rush them and shoot anything that moved and make as much noise as we can. We just went hog wild crazy, and we were mad at everybody and were ready to kill anything." One historian noted of this dramatic moment, "By ones and twos, almost spontaneously and without orders, the men got to their feet and, with a kind of universal anger, moved toward the enemy position. Bitter hand-to-hand combat ensued as the Americans fought from one fortified position to the next. Finally, the enemy broke in disorder." The salvation of the besieged Texans came at a dreadful cost to the 442nd. Over 800 of its men became casualties in this engagement alone. Throughout the entire course of the war, the unit received some 18,000 medals and commendations for its heroics. The most decorated American unit of the Second World War. By the spring of 1945, the 442nd had pushed into the Gothic Line and toward ultimate victory in Europe. Decades later, their saga stands as a powerful symbol of service and dedication. Alongside their African American, Native American, and Hispanic comrades in arms, they demonstrated that loyalty and capability are not measured by one's appearance, but by one's character and conviction. These lessons remain incredibly relevant as America and its armed forces continue to grow increasingly diverse and vibrant. For these reasons and many more, the 442nd Regimental Combat Team continues to represent the very best of the American ideal.